What's up guys, this is Jeff from Sorta Healthy. Today's video is going to be a pretty different one. Today we'll be talking all about software that you should consider using in your training business. And I think this video will be useful to a lot of you for two reasons. First off, we here at Sorta Healthy have done a little bit of everything in the personal training world. We've done in-home personal training, standard big box gym personal training, private studio personal training, and online personal training. So regardless of which type of training business you want to run, we'll have some good advice for you. Currently we are focusing on these two things the most. So we'll have even more advice on tools and software for people interested in running these types of businesses. The second reason that this video will be useful to many of you is that we've used a lot of overpriced software over the years. One of them almost ruined our business. We'll talk more about that later. Luckily, we've tried a lot of these things, so you don't have to. Before we start breaking things down, all I ask is that you consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. This is the best way to support the channel, which is a free resource for all fitness professionals. Thank you so much for the continued support, everyone. I really appreciate all of you guys a lot. So the software that we'll be discussing today is in no particular order. That being said, this first one is probably the one that we rely upon the most, and this software is called Vagaro. Vagaro is a software that allows you to schedule your clients, and it allows your clients to book your services online. To be honest, you can do a million things on here. We also use it to take client payments. We've used it for newsletters, setting up training packages, the list goes on. In a studio that has multiple services like mine, over here at Commence Fitness, we offer one-on-one training, small group training, massage therapy, assisted stretching, and a few online services too. Vagaro is great because it lets you book all of that in seamlessly. It's very similar to MindBody, which is probably the most popular option, but it's a fraction of the price. In fact, having used both Vagaro and MindBody a lot over the years, I can tell you that at this point I actually prefer Vagaro. It does everything you need and it's affordable. And that's pretty much all I'll say about this for right now, because I don't want this video to end up being a commercial. I just want to give you guys who might want to start your own training business information about the best tools available. So yeah, if any of you need scheduling software, make sure you check out Vagaro. For those who are interested in trying it out, go to this link in the video description to get started. If you sign up through our link, you'll get 1 month free and $25 towards any purchase on Vagaro. Next up, we're going to talk about websites. If you want to run an in-person training business, which 90-something% of my training business is in person at this time, you will need a website. I want to repeat this part and make sure everyone understands exactly what I mean here, because this is one of those things that people get tripped up on. If you run an online training business, you don't need a website. You can acquire most, if not all of your business through social media. For in-person training, it's totally different. If someone wants in-person training, there are 3 ways they're likely to find it in 2021. The first way is word of mouth, the second way is Facebook or Instagram, and the third way is local Google search. If you're good at what you do, you'll always get a fair number of clients from word of mouth. If running an in-person training business is how you'll be supporting yourself and feeding your family, you'd be an idiot to rely on word of mouth exclusively as your way of acquiring new leads. Word of mouth isn't consistent. Some months your clients will refer you a whole bunch of their family members or friends, and other months they won't. Facebook and Instagram are pretty similar. Some months you'll get a whole bunch of good leads on there, and other months you won't. Having a website can be the same as those things as well. It can be inconsistent, but a good source of new leads. If you're able to get into the top 3 for local searches on personal training though, all of a sudden this becomes a much more consistent source of new leads. This shouldn't be a surprise either. If you want a local service such as massage therapy or chiropractic or anything really, assuming that you haven't heard of anyone in particular, you Google search that service. Anyways, let's talk about how you might want to start building a website as a personal trainer. I currently have 2 websites. In the past, I've had many more. Both of my 2 current websites and all of my previous ones were all created with Wix. They have pre-made templates for sites, yes, even personal training websites, and it's very easy to create a good-looking, functional website on here in a few hours with no skills whatsoever. Getting your site to rank on Google can take a while longer, but I haven't had any issues with that on my Wix-based sites. I would highly recommend Wix to all trainers who are serious about starting their own in-person business and need to get the ball rolling. Again, creating these sites takes 0 skill. WordPress is a potentially better but more complicated option to consider as well. I may switch my websites over to WordPress at some point. I don't know, we'll see. In the meantime, I built an in-person training business that makes a few $100,000 a year, all with a simple little drag and drop site. I 100% believe that many of you could do the same thing. The next tool in my trainer/business owner toolbox that we'll talk about is Canva. I use Canva a lot. I mean really a lot. In fact, this part of the video you're literally watching right now was made with Canva. All the thumbnails for my videos are also made on Canva. We also use Canva for our in-person and our online training businesses too though. All the infographics and cool forms that we make for our business or clients are all made with this software. You can even make logos and business cards on here too, although we did make our logo and business cards on separate websites. Canva is drag and drop and very easy to use. If you plan on running your own training business, Canva is definitely worth the small monthly fee. Even if you're just into designing things, it still might be worth looking into. Next up, we have Trainerize. We primarily use Trainerize for online clients, but we also utilize it with in-person clients as well. Trainerize is great for creating client workout programs, keeping track of weight, measurements, calories, and more. Honestly, almost anything you'd want your client to track, you can track in Trainerize. As the trainer, you utilize one dashboard for all of your clients, while they can all individually download the app and have all of their programs right in front of them. Trainerize is also freely customizable if you choose to use it that way. You can have your logo, colors, etc. added to the interface to create your own app. You can also add exercises to the exercise library, but to be honest, theirs is pretty good already. For in-person clients, Trainerize gives some added accountability and also homework to follow when they're not with you. For online clients, you can keep everything organized in one app, including two-way messaging, which keeps things simple and effective. At the end of the day, if you're looking for good software for online training, Trainerize is a no-brainer. And like we mentioned, it even has perks for in-person clients too. The next software, app, or tool, whatever you want to call it, that we use is Google Drive. We create home and travel workouts for our clients in this app. It's pretty easy to do this in Google Sheets, and best of all, it's free, unlike something like Excel. You also have a word processor, which is basically the exact same as Microsoft Word. Again, the only difference is it's free. You also have the ability to work on projects in multiple locations as a team, which is pretty cool. We've created a good chunk of our Sorta Healthy trainer forms using Google Drive, our workout chart likely being the most popular one. If you're looking to download and use our workout chart or any of our other forms, by the way, go to this link in the video description. Everything is free and is designed to make your life as a trainer easier. The last app or piece of software that we'll talk about today is MyFitnessPal. You should 100% be having your clients use MyFitnessPal or any other food tracker app if they have a goal of weight loss. And to be honest, there isn't really anything too special about MyFitnessPal, it's just the most popular one. Before we go any further, I think it's important to mention that your clients don't necessarily need to food journal forever. That being said, they will benefit from it tremendously early into their training program. If they're not recording their food, how will they actually know if they're in a caloric deficit? Well, to be honest, they won't know, which is bad. This is why it's a really good idea to try to get your clients to food journal as early as possible. And I know, I get it. Some of your clients really don't want a food journal. Okay, fine, you can't make those clients do it, but I think it's very fair for you to strongly recommend it to them because simply put, it works. As far as MyFitnessPal goes, we've touched on how you should have your clients use it in previous videos, but we'll cover it a bit here too. Start by having your client fill out all their personal information when getting started. After they've done that, MyFitnessPal will give them some personal recommendations, and then all they have to do after that is start recording their food as accurately as possible. Of course, staying in a caloric deficit if they're focused on weight loss. You as a trainer can send them a friend request on the app and keep tabs on their progress that way. This adds great value to everything you do at no extra cost to you or your client. All in all, this really is an incredibly powerful tool for your weight loss clients. If you're not encouraging your weight loss clients to use it, you're making everyone's life way harder than it needs to be. I mean, you can even scan your food with your phone camera, and MyFitnessPal will estimate the calories. We need to make weight loss as simple as possible, and I think it's obvious that using these apps can really help with that. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot, the software that almost destroyed my business. Early on, Vagaro, our current scheduling software, didn't have some of the features that we felt like we needed. They've since added those features in, but a few years ago it didn't have them. And because of that, we temporarily switched from Vagaro to a different software called Wellness Living. People selling this software were very salesy and constantly changing the price if we signed up by a certain date. They would say things like, hey, if you sign up later today, you'll get $200 off your first month. It was all just a little bit weird and sketchy. And this kind of stuff usually turns me off right away, but we did decide to try out the software anyways. Basically, when we signed up for it about 2 years ago, the software was incredibly slow and buggy and super unintuitive. We were making scheduling mistakes because of their unresponsive software, which barely worked on the phone at all at that point. Their payment processing stuff was all weird and confusing. All in all, we just had a bad experience. It significantly hurt our productivity and our business while we were still pretty young. We switched back to Vagaro after a month or two and haven't looked back since. And maybe Wellness Living has improved since then. I have no idea, to be honest. Some people online do seem to like their software, so maybe you shouldn't write it off altogether, but that's just my take on things. I think the moral of the story here is that if the person trying to sell you the software seems sketchy, don't buy it. No matter how cool it seems, something is probably off. And that, my friends, is all that we have for today. And I didn't include any social media on my list of software that you should be utilizing running a training business because I feel like most of you already know that if you are running a training business, you should have a presence on pretty much all of those different social media platforms. But anyways, do any of you have any questions on anything that we talked about today? If you do, make sure to leave me a comment down below. And if you haven't already, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel, because both of those things do help the channel to grow, which does allow me to create more free content for all of you. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and until next time, stay sorta healthy.